House of Representatives engages FIRS boss over tax evasion. Second anniversary, correspondent examines scorecard of 9th House of Representatives. And Nigerians assess 2 years of 9th House of Representatives. Point the way forward. It's a pleasure to have you join us again on You and Your Reps. My name is Victor Azu. Welcome. The executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami, says to effectively address tax evasion, there is need for partnership between the agency and the lawmaking arm of government. He made the remarks during an appearance before the House Committee on Public Accounts. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The FIRS boss, whose appearance was on invitation of the committee, noted that tax evasion is a challenge across the world, but when the right laws are in place, such actions are minimized. He stressed the need to review relevant laws and policies that would enhance operations of the revenue service to improve tax collection. Mr. Nami explained that FIRS has not granted tax waiver to any firm, local or foreign, adding that such power lies with Nigeria Investment Promotion Council, NIPC, and other appropriate agencies.
When you claim to operate in a free trade zone, you must file tax returns with us, giving us your bank statement and everything, so that we realize if truly the production and services you are rendering were actually exported. If they are exported, there will be evidence of how the money flows from that country to Nigeria. So if we discover that significantly it was the revenues were generated in Nigeria, you are meant to pay taxes.
Chairman of the committee, Oluwole Oke, said the House of Representatives will engage other agencies to source information towards curbing tax evasion.
Oil and gas free trade zone on it. There are a lot of sharp practices there. Sharp practices. And it is on this note that my colleagues, that the MD of oil and gas trade zone, free trade zone on it, should cause appearance on the 17th.
Minister of Trade and Investment and NIPC have been invited to appear before the committee.
And civil unrest in parts of the country may soon be a thing of the past. Now this follows passage at second reading of the Federal Entrepreneurship Center's Establishment Bill in the House of Representatives. The bill, in support of the federal government's employment generation policy, seeks investment in community projects with the aim of curbing youth restiveness.
The Federal Government Entrepreneurship Center's Establishment Bill, sponsored by Usman Zanna, seeks the creation of such centers in local government areas across the Federation for the purpose of building capacity and making the youth more innovative and self-reliant.
The project is designed to term as a game changer in providing training strategies and certification programs that will assist young Nigerians to embrace micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises as an alternative to an employment option.
That is 774 local governments. Take, for instance, in Lagos mainland, where I come from. If this kind of center is established, it will help out. In the fellow local government in Kwara State, if this bill is established, it will help out. One, to establish skill acquisition and to gain growth and development. Two, to create an employer of labor. People will not be going cap in hand anymore. You'll be an employer of labor on your own. You'll be self-sustained. You'll be the employer yourself and you can engage so many number of people. You embark on training and retraining. You assist so many number of people to gain employment. This bill, it is important. It is beyond constituencies. It is to the grassroots level. 774 local government center entrepreneurship. It will help and it will go a long way. Look at China, for instance, what is happening now in terms of entrepreneurship and technical and technology. This bill is an advantage. It will help us, and I urge all of us to support it so that we'll be able to establish that during our own time, during the President Buhari's tenure, during my own tenure, during your own tenure.
Other bills passed at second reading include the Institute of Chartered Accountants Bill from Abubakar Yunusa and the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies Amendment Bill sponsored by Abdullahi Halims. Other considerations were the second reading of Adamu Sanda College of Education Ganye Establishment Bill from Abdulrazak Namdas, the Elkanemi College of Education Bama Establishment Bill sponsored by Zainab Gimba, and the bill seeking the establishment of Federal Orthopedic Hospital Azare, Borno State, sponsored by Haruna Mishelia.
Azare in Borno State, Your Excellency, which is the capital of our local government, is centrally located in the northeast zone, where if you move 150 kilometers in all directions, you would have gone to all the other 5 states in the zone.
The security breaches in Niger State, the recent of which is the abduction of school pupils in Chagina, raised by the Niger State Caucus, saw House members urging the federal government to secure the release of the abductees. The House also resolved to investigate recent attacks in parts of Benue State, which left scores dead and property destroyed, as moved by Godday Samuel. The need for the federal government to comply with the Niger Delta Development Commission Act on Constitution of Governing Board was supported.
Despite Section 4 and 12 of the NDDC Act, the position of the board chairman, managing director, and 2 executive directors are solely occupied by Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Rivers, Cross River, leaving out Ondo State, Imo State, and Edo State.
Plenary has been adjourned to 29th June 2021.
And it's now 2 years since inauguration of the 360-member 9th House of Representatives. How far so far? Well, that's a question that National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali seeks to answer in this special report.
Like other arms of government and sectors, the legislative arm was affected by the pandemic, which came 6 months into the life of the 9th Assembly. The rallying point for the House of Representatives, which is in its motto, Nation Building, a Joint Task, is demonstrated with the recitation of the national anthem at every sitting. Midway into the 4-year voyage, it has set a record.
We have processed 1,369 bills. We have passed at third reading 83 bills.
The passage of the Police Reform Bill and the Police Trust Fund Bill is also an achievement for which the 9th House of Representatives and indeed the 9th National Assembly deserve a pat on the back.
Much of the business we have done in the House has revolved around some of these thematic issues. For instance, in the first 1 year of the 9th House, we had about 100 resolutions on security alone.
Credit goes to introduction of e-Parliament as the House went digital. The House has continuously provided intervention and engaged Nigerians on national issues. The recent include the Summit on National Security and Constitution Review public hearing.
For us in the House of Representatives, this ongoing constitutional review presents a generational opportunity to devise a constitution that resolves the issues of identity and political structure, of human rights and the administration of government, resource control, national security, and so much else that have fractured our nation and hindered our progress and prosperity.
Some of these engagements turned dramatic, as experienced during the NDDC investigative hearing and the public hearing on Petroleum Industry Bill. There were also sad moments. 6 House members died within the period under review. With 2 years left and the nation facing challenges, the House says hope should be kept alive.
We need to work together. And whenever we find ourselves there, we always see ourselves as a brothers and sisters. And I want to appeal to my brothers who are clamoring for separation or decision all over the land. That is not the answer to their problem. Honestly, it's not the answer. The strength of this country is more than gold for us if you can utilize it.
Bicameral legislature refers to a two-chamber legislative system. But how does it function? Well, we're about to find out from the Chairman, House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata.
You have the House of Reps, you have the Senate. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives have equal powers. None of the houses can pass any bill save the other house concurs. Whenever there's a point of disagreement on a particular bill, then there will be a conference committee of equal numbers to agree on specific wording on the bill, and then after the conference committee agrees, then it is as good as the two chambers agree. If the House of Representatives is the initiator of the bill, the Senate must concur. If the Senate is the initiator of the bill, the House of Reps must concur before it is forwarded for assent.
In the meantime, the member representing Gombe Hung Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Yusuf Buba, has attributed security concerns across the nation to the seeming lack of government presence at the grassroots. The Chairman, House Committee on Foreign Affairs, says it is the reason his constituents have asked him to push for local government autonomy in the ongoing constitutional review process. Let's hear him.
Well, the most important thing that affects and is a major cause of the problem we have at the grassroots today in Nigeria is the issue of the autonomy of local government. If the local governments have their autonomy, because money is released to local governments monthly, you will find out that at least every local government in Nigeria will get up to 100 million every month. So if they have their autonomy and they get their money direct without going through the states, I am sure that money will circulate within that local government. Because whatever you do with that money will be within the local government. And if at least 100 million is circulating, whether in terms of recurrent or in terms of small capital projects that will be executed by the local government, things like healthcare, things like small rural roads and even security. If the local government is getting its resources, the chairman will be able to, on his own, come up with some innovations in terms of securing his local government. And all these things need money. Because if there is money, the chairman can use other local means of security. We have hunters, we have vigilantes. They need to be sponsored. And then we have local means of intelligence, which is even the best form of intelligence. The chairman can sponsor that, and then they will garner intelligence. Every village head knows what is happening in his village 24 hours. If there is a new person coming into his territory, he knows. So, but they need the resources to be able to garner those intelligence and transport themselves up to the local government and then up to the states and get those intelligence out on time. Even if they are going to use phones, they need resources to get airtime in the telephones and so on to do that. So, but when the local government is so impoverished and completely almost non-existent, then you expect a lot of trouble and a lot of hunger and a lot of lack of security down there. That is what is coming up. So until the root, the foundation is strong, the top cannot hold. And that is why we are shaking. So that is one major thing that I believe my constituents will come up with. In the Earth Assembly, we proposed that, but at the state level, they couldn't get the two-third concurrence from the state assemblies. I believe that should not be the case this time around.
And Nigerians have been speaking on performance of the 9th House of Representatives in the last 2 years. They also indicated possible areas of focus when members return from their recess. Take a listen.
They are trying, but they need to try harder because what is expected of them, we are not seeing what we need from them. Because the area of insecurity is what bothers us a lot.
I'll give them pass mark because they were able to pass so many bills to the executive. They should look into security and the economy of this nation, because the security aspect of this country is really biting on us. We need to do something about this thing, about the security issue.
They should look more into the insecurity in the country at the moment. They should also look at things of economic importance.
It's not that they are not making laws, but the laws they are making are not the actual laws expected of them from the people they are representing. They should go back to their homes, those who represented them, and ask them what they want. So that when they come back, they will be representing the people who took them there effectively.
So far, there has been harmonious relationship between the executive and the representatives compared to the 8th assembly. So there has been, as a result of that, there has been smooth running in legislations and passage of bills. If they come back, I really wish they will focus on how Nigeria's economy can improve.
There should be a bill that actually guarantees that this social security is paid. There should be a law, not something they do as charity every now and then there's an issue.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee's segment examines the House Committee on Tertiary Education. We spoke with Chairman of the committee, Suleiman Aminu. The legislator from Kano State represents the Fagi Federal Constituency.
Responsibility is to supervise and oversight the Federal Ministry of Education, all the agencies that are under the Federal Ministry of Education, or the federal universities, or the federal polytechnics, or the federal colleges of education, and of course the supervisory agencies that looked after the universities, that is NUC, MBTE for polytechnic colleges, NCCE for the colleges of education. And our role includes periodic interface with all these institutions to review their progress, appreciate their challenges, work out legislation for them, work out appropriation for them, supervise expenditure, report periodically for their problem and agencies. These are basically the function of the committee. Just like government is continuum, you cannot say that you have been able to resolve all issues. The work of the committee is like that of the security, to look over the safety of where he is oversight. So we work to ensure steady supervision on the activities provided, all the paraphernalia as they affect all the issues that I have listed are taken care of by way of legislation, by way of appropriation, by also way of scrutiny to ensure that whatever are put in place are utilized for the purposes for which they are. To say that how far may amount to finality, the only thing I can tell you is to say that we've been doing the best we could under the circumstance we are operating to ensure that we sustain periodic oversight, we sustain engagements, and the success or failure of all these things are factored into the reality of the moment. By this, I mean that the standard we are witnessing, the progress that we are witnessing in the sector could also be attributed to some of these activities that are legally provided. There are general problems as they relate to funding, and this is a general phenomenon. Factor responsible for this most of the time is not official. Two factors are identified. One is the limited resources that have to contend with yearning from different MDAs. The second also is ineptitude and greed on the part of administrators to apply and administer the limited scarce resources as ordinarily as they should be. The second aspect, of course, is the current general insecurity in the country, with particular microing of the issue to our institution of higher learning, where instances of disruptions in the academic calendar occur as a result of a threat and activities of the bad element within us. I mean, at the moment, these are some of the issues that we are contending with, try to find out additional measures that could guarantee safety in teaching and learning.
And we will be wishing the House Committee on Tertiary Education all the very best in its efforts to keep the education sector running smoothly. And this is where we leave it on You and Your Reps for this week. Thank you for your company. My name is Victor Azul. See you next time.